Hi, I'm Debbie,
And I'm Jan.
and this is the Villages 365. And today we're going to do, we had a viewer that had requested that we do some of the do's and don'ts during your first 6 months of living
Right.
here in the Villages.
Of a new villager. Yeah.
For a new villager, yeah.
Yep.
So what I would say, first of all, to kind of preface this, we all have different financial means, we all have different interests, we all have different things. So some of what we're talking about are things that we found from our own experiences or we've heard from other people. Doesn't mean that this is necessarily what you need to, obviously. It's not your
Right,
playbook
right, yeah,
necessarily,
right.
but some things to think about is all.
Just suggestions.
Yeah.
My first one was buy a golf cart when you're a new villager. I do know a few people that don't have a golf cart, which I found very interesting because it's so much easier to get around with that. But when you're looking for a golf cart, shop around. There's the villages, and then there's different companies outside of the villages. And I just suggest that you drive them all, electric, gas, and then you can pick your color, you can pick your seat, you can pick your seat. That didn't sound good. Anyway, you can custom it to anything you want. We see a lot of people with their baseball teams and football teams and colleges. But I think that's one of the first things you should do if you're interested in having a cart.
And funny thing is that one of my don'ts is don't buy two golf carts right off the bat. Now, both of us have determined when Leo and I moved down, we had
Right,
a
we
car
own
and a
one.
truck,
Yeah.
and then we bought our golf cart, and then the golf cart was in the garage and the car, and then we started realizing how we traveled, which was by more by golf cart.
Yes.
And if we were golfing separately, it was nice to have our own golf carts and all that stuff. And we found that our cars, our vehicles, were just in the way of us getting in and out the garage.
Right.
So I will say, in the long run, we did buy two golf carts, and we sold one of our vehicles. So we
same
had
here.
one
Yeah.
car and two carts.
Yeah.
But I would say, don't do it right off, because I do know some people who have purchased two golf carts and they sit in their garage because they maybe live way down south and all their stuff is up north, or vice versa. Their friends are down south and they're up north, and so they're like, well, every time I go to my friend's house, I'm driving my car anyway.
Yep.
So I would just say, take your time, evaluate how you're going to live,
Yep.
but don't buy two carts right off the bat until you make sure that
Yeah, we
that is,
didn't,
in
we
fact,
didn't
how you're
for
gonna-
probably 3 or 4 years. So, because yeah, you're right. And maybe if you and your significant other do a lot of things together, you don't need that
they
second
only
car.
need one.
So if
Yeah.
you like to do crafts and he likes to golf, or vice versa, then you might. It's just easier to get around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Another do you might want to do when you get down here is download the Villages GPS app.
Mm-hmm.
I have
That's a good
not, because we've been here for a while, and it does take you a while to get around. I don't know how many times we got lost going to Lopez, but the signage around here is way better than it was years ago.
Yes.
It is, and they used to have the maps, and I think they still have the maps. But if it's windy, you're fighting this map, and a lot of people use the GPS, and I recommend that if you're going to do a lot of exploring. But exploring will also get you used to how to get around.
Yes. And to go along with that, my don't was don't go running across the street in your cart. It's very hard. The frustrating thing is you'll be sitting there you're going northbound on whatever, Morse, and you see a path over there and you're like, and I need to be on that path. Don't just bolt across the road, because that's going to be a problem. You can't get ticketed if you have your golf cart out on the roads and you're on the wrong roads.
Yeah.
And so the GPS is a great do, because that will alleviate some of the frustration, because it is very frustrating when you first, and I would say for us, I felt like we were good like after 3-4 weeks. I felt like we could pretty much get anywhere 3-4 weeks. I don't know how long you felt like it took you guys.
Well, you came down and visited your dad quite a few times. We followed our side laws for a while, and then if they'd go home, then I'm going, I don't know how to get here.
Mm.
You know, so it does. It takes a, and then once you do, we navigated by courses.
That's good. Good idea.
I mean, because
Yep.
we golf different places, and then
Yep.
then as you learn to go courses, then you kind of learn how to get around. But
And honestly, the golf courses have a little little golf course map, and they're numbered
Yep,
by executive and by championship, and so it really does truly list.
I laminated that.
Order.
Yeah, when we were first down here, because that is very,
It's
very
very
handy.
helpful.
Yeah,
Very helpful.
yeah, for sure.
One of my do's was do take time to see all the different areas. It's really, once you get down here, you're going to get in with some groups and you're going to kind of get a routine. And then it's going to be harder to get out and see the areas. So one thing I would say is, spend some time after you get settled, take the golf cart out and go see, like drive all the way up north and see the First Responders Rec Center, and then drive all the way south and go see Marsh Bend and Everglades and Fenny and all the different areas, because they are starting to make them considerably different. The northern end, like the first square was Spanish Springs, it was supposed to be like the St. Augustine-ish kind of idea.
Yep.
Like Sumter, I would say, is more the New England kind of look. Brownwood's the
Texas,
Cowboys,
yeah,
and
the Texas,
so
they have place in
there's
Texas,
so
yeah.
much to see. So
Yep.
do take some time to go see it before you kind of get yourself in a routine, and then you never go see anything.
I know, because there's a lot of places I haven't seen yet. We have a friend that she just told me the other night she has swam in every pool but two. The two that are now just getting built, and I'm just like, that's 100 and some pools.
Yeah.
I mean, she loves the Village's lifestyle, and she embraces it, and so she's like that. She's going to go around, she's going to do all these things, she's going to look at every rec center, and yeah, I think that's can take you a long time.
It can, and
You're
but
bored.
I think it's fun.
Yeah,
It's
I
fun
think
to
it's
see all the different
amazing.
stuff.
Yep. I agree. One of my dues is for $8 a month, you can get the account with thevillages.net, especially if you golf. I highly recommend it, so you don't have to do the phone requests for tee times. And there's also a lot of other information on there. You can get on there, and there's a link to get your guest IDs, and there's a little news on there. It's $8 a month. You get
And you get an email address.
You get an email address, and it's just handy. That's cheap. So that's one of the first things we did after I tried doing the phone thing. So anyway,
one of mine is do take time to seek out different clubs and groups. For example, we were talking the other day, there was initially 2 quilting groups here. One was to teach, one was to do, and now there's 26 quilting groups here. So just as an example, so you're going to find different people in them. If you have a hobby, an interest, everybody here is from all over. So you're going to have different personalities. You're going to have the Midwest people. You're going to have the Southern people. You're going to have the Northeast people, the West Coast people. So you're going to have different personalities, different feels, and different groups. So my thing is, if you were a quilter and you went to this group and you felt like, I just don't fit in with these people for whatever reason, whatever it is, try another quilting group then.
Yep.
Just keep trying the groups until you'll find something that will fit for you.
exactly. Yeah.
Don't give up on that. Just keep trying to find the right groups.
And I also have, along with that, when you first come down here, go to the squares at night, because you will meet a lot of people. You sit down in a chair, and all of a sudden, the person next to you says, "Hey, where are you from?" or blah blah blah. And then we've met people from the square. I know some of our neighbors have met a lot of people. They're from Arkansas, very friendly people. And they've met a ton of people just going to the square. And now we're running around with some of those people that they met. And that is a great way to get into the Villages. You're entertained, and then you can also meet people, because everybody's up there just to have fun. So I recommend that.
What else you got?
I also have to take advantage of all the entertainment and all the shows, because there's some really good entertainment. There's a lot of very talented people, And if you come from somewhere, you were an actor, a singer, or whatever, you can get into any of these groups, and you can see great music or great singing or whatever every day here. I mean, with the shows with the Sharon and what's the other one over here? Savannah Center. And yeah, I mean, that's just, I mean, and if another thing I have is if you want to take up golf, the Villages offers new golf courses, new to golf school. It's 7.5 hours of group instruction. It's $320 a person. I was a little surprised at the price. And they also have a refresher. So like if you play golf in high school and never played it again, then you can have a refresher course. So if you're going to be into golf, which the Villages kind of used to promote golf
That
big
was the
time.
big thing, yeah.
But now there's so many other things that really golf isn't on the high
Number one
anymore. So
and there's also a good golf school that they have that kind of goes through and I think that one's free, but they go through the rules of like courtesy and things like that.
And what to wear.
Attire, things like that, yeah. So just kind of about what's kind of expected. I think it's called Good Golf School,
Right.
I think.
Let's see what else I have. Oh, relax, you're retired. Like, you don't have to come down here and do a cajillion things. Enjoy your yard, enjoy your house. I mean, you deserve it. You've worked all this time, and so you can do a lot of things, but it's awesome to just relax. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because that's one of my don'ts is don't be afraid. I am the queen of this, but don't be afraid to say no because you will get overcommitted to everything. So if you say yes to everything, it's great to try new things, do new things, but you'll end up getting overcommitted. We were laughing. I was with a lady today playing tennis, and she was saying, I don't know how I ever worked and things like that in my real life because you get so busy doing things that it's and my dad actually, when he was alive, to be fair, my dad first came down and he was golfing I think 5 times a week or whatever, and he said, you know, Deb, it's beginning to feel like a job, and then you don't enjoy it as much. So just be careful about overdoing it actually.
Because you're so enthused that you want to do this and this, and you're right. I think some days I think golf is a job.
And I should say, one of my don'ts, which I won't say, but one of my don'ts should be don't play softball. I can't tell you how many people get hurt playing softball.
That's one of because you run as fast as you can from first to second, or from when you hit it to first. You're not used to running that fast, and you're going to pull something.
Yeah, so do stretch out if you're going to exercise.
That's right. The don'ts, I was doing the list of don'ts, and I thought they sound so harsh, so I want to say suggestions. But here's one: always walk towards traffic.
Yes.
Or jog towards traffic, because you will get run off the road. I would be terrified to think a cart or a car is coming behind me as I'm walking on the right side with them. And I will tell you why. I have actually had to step off numerous times because people are not paying attention, or they don't know how close they are. And it's not their fault. They're just kind of out there. But
I think some people don't see as well either.
Maybe, but that's a thing. I have a lot of golf do's and don'ts, but since golfing is not a big thing on our thing, I'm just going to kind of skip those.
Go ahead.
So,
I have do take time to try a new activity. So there are so many activities here. A lot of the Villages is physical activities, but the thing that I don't think a lot of people realize is there is a lot of stuff that is not, like I said, like quilting. There's card clubs, like I don't know how to play them, but samba, something train, Mexican train or something. Like, there's all these dice and
Mahjong is big.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a pitch club around here. I mean,
we have I don't know what the school is called anymore because they had a name and then they had to switch it. But anyway, it's like a continuous learning that they have.
Is it the academy, or did they change the academy?
I think that's maybe what it's called, is the academy.
The academy.
And so you can actually pay to take classes. It's kind of like like my grandma used to call home extension, which was off of the college and stuff like that. I don't think this is college credit at all, but there's classes you can take, pottery, knitting, crocheting, and you can probably find those free here too. But there are some kind of like continuing I think they call them enrichment classes.
Yeah. Academy
And it's something like that, but they're enrichment classes. So think about doing something that you're always like, you know what, when you're working, you're always like, I would love to learn a language. I would love to learn how to play whatever, poker or whatever. And so take the time to do it. You've got the time, so do it.
Yeah. Yep. And there's a lot of classes you can take. And I think that's good for your brain when you get older. You need to think.
Yeah.
So one of my don'ts or suggestions is you need to be very careful who you invite here, because they might move here.
So pick your guests carefully.
Because we've had several people that have come, and I love them all. I'm just kidding. That have come down to visit, and they buy. So if you have that one person that you really don't like, just say, I'm sorry, we're booked. So
point to top of the world and tell them, go up to Ocala. One of my do's is get in with a doctor right away. Down here, the Villages Health, I love the way they run their system because they allow an hour for an appointment, and the doctors really are very thorough here. We've been with our doctor for 7 years here, and then a friend of ours just moved down, and we were having this conversation just the other day, and he said, oh yeah, I got in with this doctor. He was great. He sat with me for 30 minutes just getting to know me. Like, well, what are your hobbies? How do you, So I just think that's so important. And I know for my own self, my doctor takes very good notes. She looks at me and goes,
Yeah.
And she's typing away. And then the next year she'll be like, so how's tennis still going, Deb? Are you still playing tennis? And so it's wonderful because she has an idea of who I am. Because I think they're starting to realize too, your activities, your mental state, that has a lot to do with your overall health. And I just think they do a good job here. But you'll want to get in with a doctor because during the season, a lot of people, I'm surprised at, but a lot of people do have their doctors down here instead of back up north or west or wherever they're from. And so it's very interesting to me because they book up. So like my doctor, when I leave my physical today, they make me an appointment for a year next year. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next year. They're like, you want to get in? So I make sure that I make my appointment. So I would say search out a doctor right away. You need to get on somebody's radar.
Right. And it's easy to get in and have tests and stuff done during the summer, but during the height of the season, it's really hard if you have an issue to get.
But even my doctor said didn't matter, summer, nothing. They said they were making their appointments a year.
Oh yeah, I make mine a year in advance for dentists and all that stuff, but just so I have one. So anyway, let's see. I do have don't get caught drinking and karting, because you will get picked up and ticketed just like you're in a car.
Yep.
And you will be on Villages News with a bad picture.
Yep.
I don't think you want that. But yeah, it's kind of an issue here. A little bit of drinking and karting.
But I still feel like, and I don't know, based again on the number of people that get picked up and it shows up, we've got 160,000 people here. And so I always feel like, because like
So there's one a night?
Yeah. It's,
maybe in the Villages News.
Yeah.
That somebody got picked up.
And you figure where we're from, they had, I don't want to say bigger crimes because somebody shouted at me on one of our videos, like, you don't think drinking, driving is a big, but I'm just saying murders, like, there were,
right.
But, so usually the DUIs, what I'm saying is usually the DUIs didn't make it into our local paper back where I'm from. And so it does here. So it stands out a little bit more that there's, and so I'm just thinking, was there as much where I'm from? I mean, in automobiles, you know what I'm saying?
It's news here because we don't have a lot of news.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, and to that end, though, I will tell you, the freshman 15, and this is just my take on it, the freshman 15 is a real thing here. So, don't eat too much, don't drink too much, because you're going to have a harder time. Well, for me, harder time losing the weight. Leo and I literally went around everywhere, and we were, let's go have lunch here, and then you're eating and drinking every day out. I mean, I'm all about supporting the restaurants and enjoying and not having to cook and all that sort of thing. But I will say, I'll bet I put on at least 10 pounds. And I know Leo put on weight too. Yeah. And then I'm like, then you're stuck trying to lose it. But I feel like it was like the freshman 15, you know, when you go away to school.
Right, yeah.
And so that's kind of how I feel about it.
And you want to try out all the restaurants.
Exactly.
And you're golfing, and then you go out to eat. And and especially when we were 6 months, we hardly cooked at all here.
Yeah.
I mean, I cooked at the lake house, but I didn't cook that much here. It was like go out
on
all
vacation.
The time. Yeah.
Yep. So it's just and everybody do your own thing.
Yep.
I'm just saying, we ate and drank our way through the villages, and I put on
We're pretty much eating at
few
every
LBs.
restaurant, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there's a couple new ones that we haven't, but anyway. I do have a don't, and this is a personal thing of mine. Don't paint or trim your house in a bright neon color. There is a color chart that you're supposed to go, and that's in 984 Old Mill Run. That must be the Villages, one of their...
That's the Sumter,
the Sumter one.
I think it's above Starbucks. And
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have a whole room of colors to
Approved
pick
colors,
from.
yeah.
And you're technically supposed to paint anything that color, but there are some people that go rogue.
And they can get in trouble if they get
And as long as nobody complains, you're
Yeah.
good. But if a neighbor complains, then, so just to kind of avoid that, I mean, everybody's pretty good here about their colors.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first came down here, especially in the older section, they did all that, because our carpet was mauve, like that pink mauve, and teal and all that stuff, because that's
Florida colors,
That's Florida. So when they did the other side, a lot of that is very Florida-ish, which is adorable. But yeah, so that's just kind of one of my things.
And I would say also, one of my don'ts is don't be afraid to ask for help or like directions, advice, anything like that. There are, a lot of new people here, but there are also a lot of experienced people here.
Right.
And everybody's always happy to. I mean, the other day I had somebody that couldn't figure out how to get through the tunnel. They were doing the thing of, I want to be over there, and she was looking at her phone.
I think
she had the Villages app,
yeah.
and she was kind of trapped because it's kind of weird. Like this goes through a parking lot, and so she's kind of like. And so I said, "Are you trying to get through the tunnel?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Just follow me." And so she followed me, and then we just wave, and they're on their way. And everybody is pretty helpful here. And if you're looking again for doctors, recommendations on a hairdresser, whatever it is you're looking for, because you're going to have to find all your new service providers down here. If you're, well, even if you're not full time, even if you're part time, you're still, for the time you're here, you probably need somebody. So don't be afraid to ask neighbors, friends, ask quite a few people and see what they have to say. And you're bound to, and you may have to try some, because we don't have the same taste. But at least you have a place to start instead of just going through the yellow pages and be like, okay, I'm gonna
or get
there.
online and So I mean, I think it's important to get to know your neighbors, because Mark and I lived here a long time, and he traveled, so the neighbors didn't even know we existed for a long time. But once we got to know them, I mean, everybody's very helpful. Somebody's out doing something, everybody comes over and helps, and it's your neighbors can. I mean, we have a great neighborhood. I mean, we really do, and I'm glad we moved there. Some people are moving out, it's a little sad, but that's life.
It happens.
Yep.
That does happen down here.
It does. I did have something here. Don't put a loofah on your car, because people will think you're a swinger. And my sister-in-law actually sent me a chart of the colors
Oh, interesting.
of loofahs. And she's like, is this real in the Villages? And I'm like, no. But yeah, she had a little chart of the different colors of loofahs. I didn't even know they were called loofahs. I thought they were called scrunchies, or whatever that is. But yeah, don't put one on your car unless you want somebody to think you're...
But if you're a swinger and you want to be noticed, maybe.
Yeah.
One of my things too, and maybe I shouldn't say it's during the first 6 months, but do go out and see other parts of Florida. I mean, the thing is, the Villages will suck you in, because there's so much to do here. Yeah, we call it the bubble. There's so much to do here. so convenient. Everything is close. It's just, and so what ends up happening is we never stinking leave.
Yeah.
And so from time to time, I always feel like, will they let us out of the bubble? Can we
Yeah.
can we go to the beach? I'd like to leave the bubble. So don't forget too, you're in a great vacation location anyway.
Yep.
So enjoy the villages and all it has to offer. But
There is an
don't-
escape.
yeah, there are other
Yeah.
places to go see too. So try and get out because there's St. Augustine. I mean, there's so many places out. We have a video out that was out March 3rd. If you're interested, and look at that one. It's a lot of the places that we recommend to go see and do, and it's a small list. I think we did 10 of them or something.
Yeah.
And
that's just a fraction.
yeah, it's a fraction. So we're going to keep doing that too because we really enjoy traveling in general, but we also enjoy seeing different parts of Florida. And most every place that we've gone has been within a 2-hour-ish range. So
Luckily, we're in the middle.
yeah, and that's one of the
Up, down,
bonuses.
I mean,
one of the
you're
bonuses.
in the middle. And the paper is really good about having 3 or 4 spots every day of things to do in Florida. I don't know which section that is, but they do say the manatees, or to go here, or to go Miami, or to whatever, and they will highlight different places that you can go.
Well, and that actually could be another do also. Do get the paper. I mean, we don't, sometimes I get these comments too on our videos about, well, what are you selling? Who are you selling? You guys aren't doing a very good job of selling this or that. We're not selling anything for anybody. But I will say the Daily Sun, it really does help you navigate. Like, you don't even have to read the whole newspaper, but there's 2 sections that have all the local stuff, like about the villages. It tells what band's playing at the square. It talks about little local places. It talks about, like, right now it's strawberry season, so then it'll be, a strawberry fest. I mean, the villages has their own, but that's not the only strawberry fest here. There'll be a
Plant
blueberry
City
fest.
is a big one. Yeah.
I mean, so, and they'll talk about little local places. So it's a good resource for that. So maybe that should be one of your dues. It's not terribly expensive. I think it's like
Yeah, it's not.
$60 a year. So it's negligible for
And
what
they're
it is.
very good about turning your paper on and off if you travel.
Yeah.
So you just email them and say, I need my paper to stop this day and start this day.
Yeah.
They're wonderful. I always apologize. Sorry, we're leaving again. But yeah, they're wonderful. So our subscription lasts forever because we're like
In and out.
always pausing it here and there. But yeah, it's worth it. It
Yeah.
really is. It gives you a lot of good information.
Do you have any others?
I have one more don't, and this is kind of my pet peeve, along with a lot of others. The golf courses, especially the championships, are not your place to stroll. I see a lot of people, and in new people's defense, they have the tiniest little marker that says golf traffic only. I mean, I was a victim, not a victim, but one of those people that took a wrong turn, and I'm going like, where am I? And there's golfers everywhere, and finally somebody said, you're on the golf course. But I see a lot of people that are walking their dogs, or they go and water their dogs, or they put the poo in the garbage or whatever. But technically, I don't. You could get hurt. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's a
You
liability.
could get hit by a ball. It is.
And it's distracting to the golfers.
It is, and I get it sometimes early in the morning, and I got stopped early in the morning. I was walking one morning, and the ambassador comes, and she goes, I did cut across. I hardly ever do that, but I did that day. I had to go to the bathroom really bad. But she goes, are you golfing? And I'm going, no, because I didn't have any clubs, and there was nobody out. It was like 7:30 in the morning, and I just said, I never do this, but I need to get to my house over there. But that's kind of my thing.
Well, that and people jumping out on the golf course after they think all the golfers have left. It's just so you know, that is a don't. You don't go out on the golf course unless you paid to be out there. That's
Right.
that's the bottom
The
line.
championship ones, yeah.
Yeah, the championship ones. So, but my last do, so end on a little positive do note. Do take time to smell the roses. As Jan said, you're retired now, so
Relax.
take all the time you
Yep.
want. Enjoy your spouse or significant other, and do take time to see everything that the Villages has, because once you get into a routine, and it will happen.
Yeah.
You know, you don't necessarily, that's one of the reasons Jan and I enjoyed doing these videos, is because if we're like, hey, let's go see that rec center. Otherwise, would we? We probably wouldn't. You know, we'd be like, we've got our rec centers, our golf courses, our this, that.
Yep.
And so we've enjoyed doing these videos for that purpose, is to go see some new stuff that we might not have otherwise taken the time to do, because it's hard to fit things into. We actually schedule when we're going to do our YouTube videos, because we're both busy, we have things, and so that's
She
kind
has
of how
more
we do it.
things than I do.
I can't sit still very
Girl
well.
tennis player.
I can't sit still, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, so hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the do's and don'ts. Hopefully that's what you were looking for when you asked.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, there's a lot of, and if you meet someone right away, then that person can also tell you like things that they did when they first came down, or things they didn't do as they first came down. So this is just a little tiny bit of
just some of the thoughts that we had about it. So, but if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And let's see, hopefully you'll watch another video here in the future. We try to put one out every Friday, so we do appreciate your kind comments and suggestions. And if there's something you'd like us to do a video on, please be sure to let us know.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Oh, he's coming. Brum, 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 bum, bum.